Alright, I started giving these tours in 1978, and this year will mark the 32nd year of annual ramblings in Forest Hill Cemetery. Anyway, Johann Georg Müller was the co-owner of a sawmill at the corner, let's see, this be the southwest corner of Packard and Hill Street, where Jimmy John's sandwich shop is now. Only it was probably a little more toward the middle of that block. It was a big undeveloped area at that time. And although there were no eyewitnesses to this tragedy, it was speculated that Miller was trying to load that heavy log that you see there onto the wheels to be drawn by the team of horses to the sawmill blade to be sliced into boards. And something slipped and went terribly wrong. They weren't sure afterwards whether it was the fact that the log landed on his chest that did him in, or the fact that the horses in their frenzy and excitement dragged him 80 rods with the log on his chest. There's no question, however, how he died that day, but the question we have to ask ourselves is, why did his widow think it was appropriate to depict his departure in stone in this bizarre fashion? Yeah. Now, the story I have heard about Catherine Schembechler is that Bo Schembechler was introduced to her at a party, and she didn't know who he was because she was not a football fan. She hadn't a clue. That may have been what endeared her to him. Cemetery was begun in 1857, organized by a group of business and professional men of Ann Arbor. And I think partly the reason for them organizing was that they were disgusted, as many residents were, with the lack of maintenance and the neglect of the original burying ground, which was the area now known as the front lawn of the Power Center for the Performing Arts. He was a regent of the university for 38 years until his death in 1942. And here he is, buried under a book. We're talking here about Don Mozart, who invented the world's most perfect pocket watch. Was about to go into production with it. He took it apart to clean it, spread all the little pieces out on his working table in Dr. Chase's building downtown, where he had an office. And then he couldn't put it back together again. And this preyed on his mind and disturbed him so that he ended up in the Washington County Poorhouse and Insane Asylum. There's a big, nice, full-page picture of that structure in the 1874 Atlas of the county. But then the, I think it was cholera epidemic swept through the mining camp and killed him in 1851. So that left his partner as the founder of Ann Arbor, Elisha Walker Rumsey. Well, Rumsey died in 1827 when Ann Arbor was only 3 years old. So he never had a chance to escape, you might say. And in consequence, the co-founder of Ann Arbor is still here. And in very fine print here, italic print, it's hard to make out in certain light, but it says here, first settler in Ann Arbor, February 1824. That's probably a picture you need to take in early morning raking light of some kind.